Okay, greetings everyone. Welcome to the Independent Producers Organization live showcase. And this time we're going to talk about homelessness actually in the western side of the United States as much as anywhere.
That's right.
Goes all the way down to Los Angeles. It's unbelievable down there how many people are homeless. But right now we're talking about Portland and in Seattle with a YouTube that says
in California,
Seattle is dying.
Yep, it's dying, exactly.
Which refers to the people that are homeless that are trying to exist, really. There's been a lot of deaths recently to do with all that.
Well, okay, well, good.
Go ahead.
I think it's really great. I think KOMO News 4 in Seattle did an excellent job.
Oh yeah.
On the whole issue of homelessness and its impact on Seattle. But when you think about it, it's a sister city, so to speak. It's right there also too with us here in Oregon, and that is Portland, Oregon. And by the time the shots were very recognizable. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And then also shots were also taken in California. Again, that was a very interesting piece. And then also when you start getting into solutionist aspect of it, there's some more memorable pieces as it relates to Portland, Oregon, Wapato. And as we get into this review, you'll see where I'm coming from. But right now is that we've got some shots, and what we're going to do now is that we're going to take a minute or two and look at some of the at the beginning of this whole review of KMO News 4 about. Is it happening also in Portland too? Is Portland also dying as it relates to the whole issue of homelessness? Let's look at it.
That's right.
Let me ask you something. What if Seattle is dying and we don't even know it? This story is about a seething, simmering anger that is now boiling over into outrage. It is about people who have felt compassion, yes, but who no longer feel safe, no longer feel like they are heard, no longer feel protected. It is about lost souls who wander our streets, untethered to home or family or reality, chasing a drug which in turn chases them. It is about the damage they inflict on themselves, to be sure, but also on the fabric of this place where we live. This story is about a beautiful jewel that has been violated and a crisis of faith amongst a generation of Seattleites falling out of love with their home. There is another part of this story, too. It's about a solution, an idea for a city that has run out of them. And I ask again, what if Seattle is dying and we don't even know it?
I drive my 12-year-old's carpool through Yesler when we do carpool, and it's a good talking point about, what they're seeing, what we can do to help, how we can make a difference. And honestly, at this point, I don't have a good answer for how we can make a difference. The last 5 to 10 years, it's not the place that I grew up in, and it's been really sad.
Matt Campbell lives and works in Seattle. He's raising a family, and like many others, he's mad.
It's gotten to a point where I'm embarrassed of it. I don't want to have my friends and family come here anymore.
People didn't used to use the word embarrassing about Seattle, but if you listen closely, you'll hear it a lot now.
It's embarrassing. This is one of the most beautiful regions in the entire world, and right now, with lack of a better word, it looks like shit, and it's embarrassing.
This is Mehrdad Derek Shande. He runs an upholstery shop in Ballard near the Burke-Gilman Trail. See if you can't feel his frustration.
This is just a bunch of. This is not right.
Out his window, he looks at this.
Oh, they're human beings. Yes, I'm a human being too.
Customers coming to his shop see the same thing.
I have known cops from Compton, Watts, South Central. They have some power in their hand. Here you see a bunch of twinkle toes running around here. What the heck? Because they run the city like that. They're having problems. They're not having enough authority.
There were fires set outside his shop this past summer, and Mr. Derek Shande does not blame police. He believes their power has been stripped away.
The city mayor doesn't give the cops authority. That's the problem. We need somebody with some weights and tell them, it's not legal living on the sidewalk. It's city ordinance. It's not legal living here. Why can't we enforce the law?
No Robert's rule. We're going to have a community discussion.
Last May 2nd, at a town hall meeting in Ballard, simmering anger boiled over into all-out rage.
So why do we see so many people living outdoors?
Will you manage these camps, and will you enforce the law?
There has evolved a profound disconnect, and rarely has it been more vividly laid out than in this exchange.
If property crime is committed, violence is committed, you need to call 911 and the police.
You've lost all credibility when you say, you said 2 words. You said call 911. Do you understand that the police have told us to vote you all out so that they can do their jobs? And you're telling us to call 911? You're smiling. You think it's funny? You think it's funny the way we're living?
The way we're living in beautiful Seattle, people are angry, furious about the way we are living. Let's look for a moment at property crimes for the 20 biggest cities in the country. New York City in 2017 had 1,448 property crimes per 100,000 residents. Los Angeles was just over 2,500. Chicago, 3,263. And look at Seattle, 5,258. The only major city with a worse number is San Francisco, which is dealing with the same problems for the same reasons that we are. They top the 6,000 mark. It's not your imagination. The crime here, the burglaries, the theft, the stealing of cars is worse than in other big cities. And in most cases, it's way worse. And then you walk down the street and you see a wretched soul like this, consumed by demons, maybe madness, maybe drugs, maybe both. This is what suffering looks like. This is pain. Ranting and raving, screaming silently, coming completely unraveled before our eyes. And then tomorrow, he'll wake up and relive the nightmare all over again. Starving, eating trash from a garbage can. Look at the people walk by. Of course they're not shocked. How could they be? They see it every day. How can this be who we are? How can this be what we allow? How did the word compassion get twisted into this sickening reality? The Puget Sound Business Journal estimates that Seattle and its outlying areas spend $1 billion addressing and responding to the homeless situation every year. And they say that number is almost certainly underestimated. Nonprofits, city and county budgets, police calls to homeless camps, hospital services, building tiny houses, drug treatment and outreach. Picking up needles, clearing out camps, garbage details, chain link fencing, and the more money we throw at the problem, the worse it gets. But of course, what is happening in King County and on the streets of Seattle isn't about dollars, it's about human lives. How can this be the right thing to do? How can watching human beings live and die in filth and degradation and madness be right? The cost isn't $1 billion a year. The cost is quality of life. The cost is people not wanting to take their families downtown anymore. Families not feeling safe in their own neighborhoods. The cost is people no longer feeling like they are heard, no longer feeling protected. The cost is people dying in the streets and the rest of us getting used to seeing it, numb to the suffering. The cost is incalculable. How did we get to this point? This is a list of familiar faces, repeat offenders, people who break the laws, get caught, get released, and break the laws again and again and again. There are 100 names on the list. Scott Lindsay is the man who dived into public records and researched the list.
If we take somebody into the jail, don't give them meaningful help, and then put them right back out on the streets, we know they're going to commit the same crimes in the same places. And our public records, our criminal justice records, really show that that's exactly what's happening.
Look at the sheer volume of criminal cases. Calvin A., 68 criminal cases since 2002, repeated random assaults on random individuals. Drainin B., 54 criminal cases since 2016. Michelle C., 72 cases since 2000. And the list goes on and on. Seattle's mayor says this:
"It is wrong to conflate homelessness with a rise in crime."
For at least 100 people, it would at the very least appear to be a factor.
Of the 100 that you looked at, what percentage of them were homeless?
Yeah, from our criminal justice records, 100% had indicators that they were currently homeless.
And what percent showed signs of addiction?
Yeah, 100% also showed signs of a substance use disorder.
And what percent were mentally ill?
Yeah, a little less than half had been evaluated by the courts formally for mental health conditions, serious, severe mental health conditions.
On average, the people on the list had 36 criminal cases each in the state of Washington and 7 jail bookings in the last year.
What this report also shows is that the police are working hard. They're making contacts, they're making arrests for criminal behaviors of, again, the same people in the same places over and over and over. What I think we need to focus on is what is our criminal justice system doing to support those police officers.
The 100 names had between them more than 3,600 criminal cases. For the most part, few have done serious time. They are out in our communities, walking our streets. The drain on the system, the drain on resources and manpower is incalculable.
The fact that this system could go on with, in effect, 100% failure rate for so long without anybody raising questions, without City Council hosting hearings, without any action being taken, is something that it's hard for me to explain.
Richard Padden is 55 years old. Born and raised in Seattle, he works for the county. He looks around at Seattle's post-apocalyptic landscape and is amazed.
But this borders on insane. I mean, we're allowing ourselves to participate in an insane practice that is affording people. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Richard started a Facebook page called Seattle Looks Like Shit. It's not meant to be funny. It's meant to be sad.
Pictures speak for themselves. I started grabbing a few photographs in the area, posting those, and the name of the site, as I drive around, look, I just say to myself, Seattle looks like shit. We're fed up with it. I was fed up with it. That's why I started the page.
Day after day, one after another, the pictures on the page from every corner of the Emerald City paint a picture of rot and filth that is being allowed to fester on the streets and in the lots and under the overpasses of a once proud city.
It looks like a third world. It looks, junkyardish. I'm not heartless, but I don't see that what we're doing now is helping anybody, and it hasn't gotten better.
Seattle police are afraid to speak out. For 2 years, we've tried to get cops to talk about what they see every day, about what's really happening on the streets and behind the scenes. More than once, the word terrified was used. Cops are terrified of losing their jobs and pensions, terrified of retaliation. And so we put out some generic questionnaires, which were filled out by completely anonymous police officers. Their responses are eye-opening, frightening, and at times sad. One officer wrote simply, "Yes, I am frustrated because I'm a law enforcement officer that is told not to enforce the law." Another wrote, "It's simple. Start keeping criminals in jail. Judges need to stop giving them ridiculously low sentences, and prosecutors need to stop accepting cheesy plea deals and actually lock people up when they commit a crime. That's all it would take to drastically lower Seattle's crime rate. Another officer said, people come here because it's called Free-addle, and they believe if they come here they will get free food, free medical treatment, free mental health treatment, a free tent, free clothes, and will be free of prosecution for just about everything. And they're right. It didn't used to be that way. Law enforcement officers used to be able to enforce the laws. This officer continues. In the last 5 years, there has been a culture shift, and it started with the legislature decriminalizing felonies and dumping convicts onto the streets. And then there is this. An officer says, even if quality warrant arrests are made, the judicial system sees fit to let them out of jail within a couple of days, often the next day. Why are we risking our lives to take felony-level fugitives into custody if they're just going to be released? Prosecutor's office and judges alike seem to be drinking all the Kool-Aid, causing a huge disconnect and a broken system with absolutely no teeth. That is Travis Berge stretching out before we interviewed him. He came from Reno 4 years ago. He's a musician, a big personality, and he has problems.
You're a user, right? What's your drug of choice?
I use methamphetamines. Yeah. And I try to at least use it once a day. But I don't really consider myself a drug abuser. The shit is amazing.
You like the meth?
I love it.
Remember that list of familiar faces? Travis is on it. 34 criminal cases in 4 years. Things like assault, attempted rape, trespassing.
You're on a list, you know.
Nice.
There's a list of the 100. They came out with the 100 frequent flyers,
really?
Friendly faces.
Of everything?
Of all, the entire.
Which one am I?
Which number on the list?
Yeah.
Oh, you're up there.
Nice.
You're up there.
I was just saying, like, I've definitely been the most in Seattle. Guaranteed.
Travis, put the bike down, Travis.
This is body cam footage of an incident on First and Pike a little more than a year ago.
Travis. What's up? Travis. What's up? Hey, come on, Travis. Travis. Hey, you. Hey, Travis, put the bike down.
It started with property destruction and escalated into assaulting police officers. A bunch of cops were deployed.
Stand up so we can get out of here.
Berge spit on them.
Don't spit.
Fought them.
Hey, no biting. Don't bite yourself either.
Stand up, Travis. We're going to the gurney. Here's the gurney.
It lasted hours.
Forward.
Well, I'm actually not even high right now.
Travis is outrageously unapologetic about his life and his world. He could care less about yours.
Do you steal for your habit?
I actually just started stealing last Monday. I started stealing, and oh my God, dude. That was one of the hardest sacrifices, is to like do unrighteous things in front of my dudes.
Travis, just relax. Travis, do you want to smoke? Travis, you want to smoke or a candy bar?
Oh! But
will you continue to do that?
Oh, I'm having a blast now. It is so much fun.
What should the system do with a guy like you?
I think that this system has done what any viable, legitimate system would, and they've really like exalted me and like shown deference and love towards me.
Back the I want to see you pick it up with your mouth, though. Remember when you caught it with your toes?
And like, I don't feel like I'll ever be arrested again. I haven't been in jail for like a year and 3 months or so, you know? So a change like that, responding to big change, definitely shows that I have conquered the criminal justice system.
Want to know the sad part, the truly frustrating part? He's probably right.
Which camera? This one that I'm looking at?
Here, you're back.
Well, we are back, folks. What do you think about the familiarity? Do you notice some of the scenes that you can probably identify them here in the Portland metropolitan area? How about down Martin Luther King South, if you will, here in the Portland, the southeast side? What about downtown, Alder, and in Old Town? aren't those familiar faces and things that you've seen? Now people have sort of walked over, ignored it, because they're sort of immune at this point in time. But my point is that it makes the point. It makes the point. We're also dying. We are dying. We're having some major problems here. And what about those agencies that are supposed to be responding to this? Who are the planners? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We've got more to show you, and we are going to be doing this. Rich, what do you think so far this time? Real quick,
just know I don't recall seeing anywhere here in Portland a row of tents like we just saw. They're all so like okay for endless numbers of tents to be set up.
But if you go down to Delta,
we keep moving them around.
Yeah, but like I said, we got some in Delta Park. I don't know if you ever seen the garbage.
That's right.
The garbage all over the place, if you will.
Oh yeah.
You know, under the bridges and things of that nature. And they've made some attempt, if you will, to change that view. I noticed that the county. I know that when you think about the sheriff gets very, very much involved off of Marine Drive. You don't see that. In fact, you still see some of the inmates picking up the trash, which is interesting. They pick up the trash up the airport, but they don't pick it up downtown Portland. Oh. That's a very interesting piece, okay?
Okay.
And there are buildings all over the place, if you will. But the fact of the matter is, the garbage, you'll be, in this next scene we're going to share, is that you're going to see a whole bunch of needles all over the place. I can still recall when running for office that this issue was brought up at one of the meetings that I had attended, and the people who were basically giving the needles free to the folks who were on opioids, if you will, giving them up free, basically comes out of Seattle. They've got the contract, and they were there, and they were being asking questions, if you will.
Okay.
But a lot of the neighbors were there in North Portland. They were complaining about the number of needles that were being thrown on the grounds, if you will, in the parks, and all over the place. And you've got kids and whatever, and you can see all sorts of situations where we've got similar kinds of things that you're seeing here now, and so anyway, so we got a little bit more we're going to be showing. We're going to show some more scenes, and then we're going to take another break.
8:35.
Okay.
8:35. Well, I think what we'll do, we'll spend a little bit more time now. And are you ready? Can you still show a little bit more on this right now? Okay.
We're set up for 8:35.
8:35 right now. Okay, good. So, but the bottom line is that what are we doing along that particular line? Naturally, the sheriff, Sheriff Reese, who at one point in time was former chief of police. He's now the sheriff of Multnomah County. It's an elected position, if you will. But again, he too has had some of the same major issues. He cleans the place up at Delta Park, and they're right back where they started from.
Okay.
And you know, right there in the end. I mean, when you drive in from Seattle, Washington to Portland, Oregon, if you will, it seems as though they're just carrying the whole culture aspect of it. And there it is. And we're sort of like we're all accustomed to it. You got me? You drive through town, through I-5, if you're going to California, you see it all along the way there. You got me? You get off on any of these outlets.
That's right.
And there it is, right there. Delta Park, downtown Portland, the whole 9 yards, you know what I'm saying? You got me? So it's a very serious kind of a situation. And then we got the whole housing aspect of it right now. There's a lot of empty buildings, but as you can see, as time goes on,
it's incredible to see all these new buildings.
Yep.
Of course, the rents are what, $2,000, $3,000, and they're all over the city. And here's homeless. There's no way to put them together. But
realistically. How do you equate that? It's kind of interesting. We're talking about the homeless aspect of it.
Right.
That's a major critique. I don't see any of the leaders, if you will, really spending enough time on solutions to the problem. Solutions to the problem, even from a national perspective.
The only one was where the mayor said we were going to clean up more often.
Yeah, we're going to clean. But where's the cleanup?
Okay.
Where's the cleanup? And if there is a cleanup, hopefully he would share the plan with the citizens across the board, because people are all stressed out. They want something done now, if you will.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not in my backyard, but it's over here, in this place over here.
Stress is just the right word.
Oh, very much so. And you know, hopefully you don't want this thing to explode in any way, other shape or form. But the fact of the matter is, when you start talking about homelessness and you talk about new development aspect of it, it doesn't tend to coincide. It's as if to say, you know, you think about, well, we need more housing for the homeless. Okay? But then the permits are given out to create the housing, but guess what? They're not being housed in the new structures, right? Because in all due respect, these folks who are building these complexes are not building them for free rent. And now the city and the state, for instance, has gone into the rent control aspect of it, and that's another situation that they're going to have to impose. So what happens then? You got me?
Remember, immigration is a big part of the problem. Yep. Having more people keep coming in, and it's difficult.
Well, like you said, we've been a sanctuary state for a number of years. Aspect of it, and the impact that it does have an impact on the homeless of American citizens here in this country. And people are very, very embarrassed along that particular line. So what we're going to do now, we're going to show you a few more scenes, if you will, again from our sister city to the north, Seattle, Washington. Here we go.
Counties seem to be struggling mightily to find answers. We came all the way to the state of Rhode Island looking for answers, and we may have found some right behind those prison walls.
Providence is a medium-sized city in our tiniest state. What they are working on here, while not outwardly revolutionary or mind-boggling at first blush, is a bold step towards saving lives and cities and giving tortured souls who've succumbed to the hell of heroin a fighting chance. And in Providence is a man who will tell you about the program they have developed. But first, he will tell you his own story.
I didn't have to do what I did. I wanted to be something that I couldn't be. I wanted to emulate the older fellas in the neighborhood.
His name is Michael Manfredi. He used heroin for 35 years.
I became addicted at the age of 15. I was a full-fledged heroin addict.
15 years old.
15 years old.
This is his mugshot from the last time he came to the Rhode Island Department of Corrections. 20 years of his life had been spent locked up.
Well,
nothing seemed to work. It was a life reeling out of control.
When I got the handcuffs put on me at my house that day when they kicked my door in, I looked at the lady detective and I said, "Thank you." And she looked at me like I was crazy. She said to her partner, she said, "This guy's not saying anything." She said, well, I said, "You just saved my life." Because if she didn't stop me there, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I would either be dead or I'd be doing life.
The question facing Rhode Island is similar to the question facing much of the United States. How do we protect our society while at the same time showing compassion towards those who are sick and struggling? It may be the question of our time.
I've wanted this program basically since the day I started.
Dr. Jennifer Clark is the head of what is referred to back east as the MAT program, Medication-Assisted Treatment.
We can't just ignore our way out of this. We can't arrest our way out of this. People are dying, and there's something we can do to stop that.
It starts out here, really, because the first thing that they do in Rhode Island is enforce their laws. Drug dealers and the people who steal and commit crime to get their drugs eventually end up in this place, the Rhode Island Department of Corrections. It's not a nice place. It's a prison. But inside the walls, something amazing happens. Every day, the inmates who are in the MAT program line up and they take their medicine. There are 3 opiate blockers that work: methadone, Suboxone, and Vivitrol. They are FDA approved. They get people off heroin. They save lives. Prisoners who enter the program choose which medicine they want to use. Michael Manfredi chose Vivitrol. He remembers when he first started taking it near the end of his last stint behind bars.
And one night I got a call, it was about 6:30. Come to the front desk. I said, "Oh no, hey, what do I do now? I know I didn't do nothing wrong," but they said, "Go see the nurse." I had tears in my eyes because I knew it was time for me to get that pill.
Really, this is the perfect setting because there's not as much distraction, actually.
Linda Hurley is the president of a nonprofit called Kodak. It's been around for 50 years on the outside. The state of Rhode Island hired Kodak to distribute medicine inside the walls of the prison.
All 3 medications you carry on your life. It's no different than if you were utilizing lisinoprol or something, I don't know, a blood pressure medication or insulin. You have a family, you have a job, you build your life. What it does is it stabilizes us physically so that we can do the emotional work that we need to do to heal from the disease.
I started messing around with the pills and everything, and then once I found opiates, that was the end of it, you know. And then
Ray Vincent has been behind bars for 3 years. He was stealing to support his habit for a while, then he upped the ante to robbery.
Maybe if I didn't come in here, I'd probably be dead.
So you think getting arrested was a good thing for you?
I think it saved my life.
Ray takes Suboxone. He knows he may take it for the rest of his life. You sound optimistic, actually.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't want to continue to come here the rest of my life. You know, and if this medication is a stepping stone I need, I'll do it. That's the bottom line.
Inside the prison, inside the MAT program, the inmates have counselors. There are one-on-one meetings with recovery coaches and group meetings as well. They hit addiction with every tool they can throw at it.
And the recovery coaches come in and meet with anyone who's willing and interested in meeting with them so that they can develop a relationship with them on the inside and then have that relationship sustained on the outside.
Kevin Tangway says, I wasn't arrested, I was rescued. And were you stealing to...
Yeah, that's my main thing. What I do is I shoplift. I'm a shoplifter.
He's been in prison 8 of the last 10 years. He's on methadone.
We get it at 12 o'clock, and we're monitored. Like, we get dose evaluations, like the doctors, the counselors. We stay in touch so that they can know where I'm at as far as the dose is holding me, keeping me, like, so that I'm not really feeling that bad.
The MAT system is a lifeline, and these men are holding on for dear life.
I'm not afraid of a lot of things, but I'm a little concerned about, like, I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to go back to it because you don't even know what's real anymore, and I'm a little afraid of that, to die alone, you know. I want to kind of try to put things together. My mother is still alive. I want to kind of like make some kind of amends before something happens to one of us, you know.
Look at this place. Look at all the buildings, the infrastructure. What if this was a specialized facility where we could use all of our resources and knowledge to fight this thing that is happening? What if it was a place where doctors and counselors and caseworkers were available, along with the treatment drugs that we know work, the ones we know save lives? What if this was a very specific place where sick people learn how to live life again? Job training, therapy, treatment, all of it in one place. It would have to be a place where the patients couldn't simply get up and leave if they wanted, because the sickness is such that that doesn't really work. But eventually they would leave and have jobs and families and maybe continue to use methadone, Suboxone, or Vivitrol for the rest of their lives, the way some people use insulin. What you're looking at is McNeil Island, completely abandoned for the most part. You might call it an answer, waiting for the right question. It wouldn't have to be here. It could be somewhere else. But maybe that $1 billion that we spent last year could be spent on a tough, compassionate concept that actually works, that saves lives. As Seattle and the rest of the West Coast wander in the darkness, searching for answers, it's important to understand that the genius of what they're doing in Rhode Island isn't just that there is full drug treatment inside the prison walls. The genius is what happens when the inmates leave.
Priority number one being how they're going to continue their medication.
The minute someone shows up in a program in the community, they have to be registered in that database, so we know if they're showing up or not.
Are the numbers going up?
The figure that I saw yesterday was 93% of the people who leave here on MAT are following up in the community. That's amazing.
93%?
93% are following through.
Michael Manfredi is one who stuck with the program after he was released. He's alive to talk about it.
Would I be where I am today if this program wasn't implemented? No. I wouldn't be here today. Honest to God, I'd be dead.
This is a Kodak center. They are sprinkled throughout Rhode Island. There are 7 of them in Providence alone.
Once you come into the Department of Corrections and are medicated under methadone or Suboxone or Vivitrol, you become a Kodak patient. You have a patient ID number in our system, and our agencies throughout Rhode Island are all connected.
Former inmates or anyone else in the program show up anytime, any day.
Take-home bottles, so those will be filled.
And they get their medication. No red tape, no questions asked, no doctor's appointments, no vouchers. They're in the system, they get their meds. It's that simple. Josh Broadfoot overdosed 12 times and somehow survived. He got 3 years for selling drugs.
I'm grateful that I was arrested and taken out of the situation I was in, because, I mean, it sounds retarded to say I'm grateful I was arrested and I'm taken away from my family, but I might not even be there to ever see my family again if that situation hadn't happened. I might be gone completely on this day.
Josh is on methadone. The MAT program, he says, gives him hope.
You got to get out there and do different, but at the same time, we have a little bit of help along the way. We have this counseling. We have something that we know is helping us to stay away from opiates and people that care, and so that's a major help.
On the outside, those group meetings continue, and so does the counseling that is so very important, up to 3 times a week.
And I changed by becoming someone I didn't want to be.
My psychiatrist, my caseworker, my case manager, and my doctor that prescribes my pills are all in one facility. I don't have to go all over the state of Rhode Island. It's one facility.
You know, with all the counseling and all the support that I have, it's like, it's a very smooth transition. You know, I don't know how it would be if I wasn't on medication. Because I don't know if if the next day I get out, I see a bag of heroin, you know? Somebody I know just sees me on the street, hey, you know, gives me a high five or something, there's a bag of dope in his hand, you know? I don't want to, it's scary to think about, but that's reality.
Ray Vincent got out of prison 19 days after we spoke to him. He's going to school to become a welder. He gets his medicine at a Kodak center every week.
It saves lives, so I don't think of it as being soft or compassionate. It is the right thing to do. It is what we're obligated to do as healthcare providers. It's the smart thing to do.
Patricia Coyne-Fag, who runs the entire correctional facility, knows that one of the ways of measuring success is looking at the death rate for those leaving prison.
Because I've seen it work. I mean, when you see the numbers, people who would be dead are not because of this program.
Leaving the walls behind is dangerous because addicts who are clean will use the same amount of drugs they used before and then overdose. The rate of that happening is way down in Rhode Island.
And what we found was a 65% decrease in mortality for people with a history of incarceration.
65%. And the program is still only about 3 years old. And maybe it's just a coincidence that it's been a group of women who have spearheaded a program that is tough, compassionate, and innovative all at once. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe not. Michael Manfredi has a job now. He goes to meetings, he's reconnected with his family, he's productive, he's happy, he's alive.
My biggest thing is my granddaughter. She melts my heart, man. Absolutely, I've never been happier in my life.
Why is that?
Because I've never lived a productive life like I am today.
My life's great, man, and I can't thank everybody enough, man, because if it wasn't for this MAT program, Michael wouldn't be here today. I'm proud of myself, proud of my family, and I'm proud of everything I've done.
And that means so much to all of us, me and the people who work in the program, to do this work, because you're the reason we do it.
What they've done in Rhode Island and in other places can be boiled down to 2 simple concepts: enforcement and intervention. Seattle and King County have retreated away from those things. We've left sick, tortured souls to wander the streets, to rot in filth and die before us. We've turned over our city to those who would steal from us and addict our children. We've turned away from simple concepts that bind together society and keep it safe. Things like enforcement and intervention. A city is a living thing. It has a rhythm and a heartbeat, a kind of soul. It is a collection of ideas that we protect and defend, old ideas and new ones. And over time, the ideas blend into a collective, living, ever-changing dream. And the dream is nothing more and nothing less than a better life for our children. But behind the beauty and the ideals, behind the bridges and the ballparks and the beautiful buildings, the dirty work is the fight. Great dreams and great cities don't survive without a fight. Seattle is dying. Maybe with all the wealth and growth, we became so pleased with ourselves or so busy that we forgot about the hard part. Maybe good people who go to work every day and raise families and pay taxes, the ones who built the city and dreamed the dream, forgot about the dirty work. Maybe we forgot about the fight.
Okay, boy, wasn't that something?
Yeah.
You know, I might add to those of you who have seen this little get-together, and then we basically have been looking at what Seattle is doing.
Mm-hmm.
They put together this nice piece. I thought it was a good hour, if you will.
Oh, yes.
And if you really want to look at it in its completeness, you can Google it. You can Google it on YouTube.
That's right.
You can Google it on YouTube. Again, it's listed as "Is Seattle Dying?"
Right.
You know, is Seattle dying? And I tell you, when I saw it, I saw it about 2 or 3 times.
Oh, really?
I saw it about 2 or 3 times. The whole idea, and then every time I saw it, I could see Portland. You know, I can see facilities here within our city. The freeways look the same, I-5, because it runs right through Seattle to Seattle.
It's working its way down here.
I can think about some of the business folks who tried to put something together in terms of a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Homer Williams is a good example of this guy. This guy was focusing on homelessness problem and the people downtown. And I'm thinking about the Columbia Sportswear, a group of businessmen tried to get together and said, well, look, we're going to donate some money. We're going to work this thing together. I really had some people excited. They were excited in the city from the standpoint that something was going to happen in a positive vein.
Okay.
And then the building Wapato, which was owned by Multnomah County, was also at the on the table. And the first thing people thought about, well, gee whiz, Homer Williams is going to pick up this Wapato because this was an albatross around the necks of the county. It's been there for years, and we spent some $100 million on that facility.
That's right.
But Homer Williams was willing to, hey, here he is. I thought, in fact, they were going to make sure they gave him that particular piece, and then they were going to develop this up there in North Portland.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
In an isolated place. Okay, look like I've lost my mic. Sorry about that. Getting on that one over there. I've lost my mic, but I got the mic back again, folks. Yeah. Sorry about that. But anyway, as I was saying, we thought that Homer Williams was going to go on and get this Wapato. Got me? But for some strange reason,
it seems like with all the whole structure of Wapato,
right,
just that it would be good for something specialized use.
Exactly. But someone had already planned to pick it up. You know, in all due respect, some say the person the flippers came in. I hate to put it that way. I mean, you would think. The rich came in and basically basically picked it up. They picked it up for little nothing. It was sold for $5 million.
Right.
And the public, the newspapers, and all were saying, why $5 million? If in fact it was somewhat appraised at
apparently all it would bring.
But $100 million, no, that's not the case. I mean, my point is, Homer Williams would have done something with it. We would have had folks in it right now, if you will.
Okay.
Just make it happen. You got me? So meaning that they were looking for just a little amount of money. In fact, they didn't even have to, quote, give it to Homer. This county could have just kept it and just rent it out for a little whatever and let Homer Williams be there. You got my point?
Okay, all right.
And then if they've got any, and the idea, and the main focus would have been mental illness. Mental illness. They would have housed mental illness there.
Oh, yeah.
Many of them.
That's right. That would be the ideal thing.
Yes, and there was enough grounds there. Homer Williams was thinking about putting together a large tent, if you will, got me, and bringing the homeless in and training and and dispatching them out to jobs and things of that nature, there was enough ground that was there to actually house another, maybe do another, maybe 600 or 700 people. I think the facility itself would have picked up about 500. So you're talking about a little over 1,000 people, you know, at that facility.
And then they could use the facilities in there, the laundry and bathroom.
The whole 9 yards. There's a cafeteria there and whatever. And in all due respect, the mentally ill don't need to be a kind of a free hotel or something like a downtown Hilton or whatever. In all due respect, they need to be contained, if you will.
It wouldn't hurt for them to do some work and cleanup.
And then some of the leaders were basically saying, well, we don't want a jail and this, that, and the other. What do you mean you don't want a jail? The bottom line is, how can you leave folks out on the street? How passionate is that?
It is a jail.
I mean, but my point is that you need some sort of to contain these individuals to take care of them. You got me?
Okay.
You saw what was being said on the film there. This gentleman said if he'd been just out on the street, he'd be dead. He'd be dead.
Right.
But he had this contained environment aspect of it, where he had to go through training, and he had to take a bath and things of that nature. And he had to take his medication right there under supervision, kind of routine, as opposed to just going up to the deal and picking up the needles, and needles are given to you and you sell them. People are selling them on the street today. They're selling them all over the place. And we've talked about this thing. I mean, this is really, really weird, you know, but Rhode Island is doing something.
Yeah.
They're doing something, and so I'm bringing this subject back up. And now, all of a sudden, the whole issue of Wapato is back on the table again. It seems as though when they built that project, they had included, if you will, the birds and different animals and things of that nature as part of that structure aspect of it. And then all of a sudden, now there's another issue. The Tribune brought it out. You can Google it on the Tribune, and it was a front page I'd say about three weeks ago or so, something like that. And a guy named Schlesinger, he was well, I don't know what the term is, but the bottom line is that they were arguing the point about the fact that was already dedicated to that spot. The Schnitzers, if you will. Schnitzer was looking at demolish, because he owns the building now.
Right.
And he bought the building from this other gentleman who got the building.
And it costs him money every month or whatever it is.
Yeah, but the bottom line, he paid $5 million for it. Right. And in the Tribune, it sort of like said it was appraised at $100 million.
That building?
Yes.
Who was the buyer? You got to have a buyer in order to appraise something.
Well, the bottom line, Schnitzer. I mean, it was appraised from the standpoint, one, how much it cost to build it. One.
Okay, that's
how
fine.
Much was it, and then how much was spent to keep it all at this particular time. You got me?
Well, you can't add, can't add all that up.
You can't build a building for $5 million.
No, that's right. That's right.
I mean, let's be honest about this deal. And all the facilities were there, the beds and everything else. Everything was there.
That's right.
Okay, it was all there. The cafeteria, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
You got me? And the open land, there was additional lands and this, that, and the other. So you couldn't do that. In fact, let's put it this way. I bet you he wouldn't accept another $5 million back. If you want to do something again for the city and our situation in terms of solving our problems, why not bring this issue back to the table? You think he would sell it back to the county for $5 million? Hell no.
I doubt it.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't know if we'd want to buy it. The county would want to buy it.
But why? But why? You need the beds.
Okay.
Well, where are you going to house the mental illness? You can't house them on the street.
That's right.
You can't.
No.
You got to monitor those drugs.
That's right.
You just can't just give them out. They're not responsible.
Okay.
That's what they basically said with part of the solution. Both of these gentlemen are saying point blank, they're in an institution. Okay, jail, okay?
No.
But there's a contained environment. It's a controlled environment, if you will, of the people that is under that roof. You got me?
Yeah.
They have to go to sleep at the right time. Get back, if you will, in the nature of things, right? They need a job.
Yeah.
Training could be done there, this, that, and the other. The facility was large, and it's just really a sad note. And the fact of the matter is, there's no focus. That's probably one of the major problems we have facing with here in the city of Portland: homelessness.
Right.
Right
now.
And how does that? And right up front with you, when you think about it, look at the photos. Look at the photos of the people that were on the. In that whole presentation.
Okay.
All due respect, how many illegal immigrants did you have there? Folks who had broken the law.
Right.
You didn't see any.
That's right.
I mean, I'm just straight up. You didn't see any.
Okay.
You got me? They have to worry about medical facilities, right? You just walk in and take care of it, right?
Okay.
You got me?
All right.
And there's this argument between ICE and, I mean, and I'm not trying to, I'm looking at saying being more passionate to even those folks. What happened to the old days when basically they worked with the country to figure out what can we do to bring them agri machinery and stuff like that so they could grow their own and compete in society? I mean,
so different back then.
It's a different situation, and here we are sitting here. The majority of those people that I saw today were all Americans.
Yeah, yeah.
American citizens.
That's right.
Who were living in homes at one point in time.
That's right.
And now, besides, they were thrown out because of high taxes and this, that, and the other. Taxes.
Number of reasons.
They were taxpayers at one point in time.
Yeah.
See, so now they're on the street, right? You got me? Looking for a place to live.
Right.
Got me? So what do? So we're right back to the same situation today. I think it's probably one of the biggest issues that we have today on this whole issue. Well, look like we're running out of time. We're about ready to do here now, and
7 minutes.
We got a few more minutes. What about any additional things that you think you want to talk about in this piece?
Well, I won't. I have to say that having too many people in the city causes all this traffic congestion.
Right.
Causes the difficulty with people finding places to rent at a fair price. And that kind of goes on and on. That has to do with so many people being here. It really is. And it's hard to get into all the aspects of that in just what, few minutes. Very hard to do that.
But we keep doing it over and over. We see it. We see the problem.
Right.
We know housing is a problem. We know the mental illness is a problem. And when I think about it also too, I think that just recently today in today's news, I noticed that Deborah Kafori was cutting the ribbon. She's the chair of Multnomah County on a new building.
Okay.
That's right next to Bud Clark's Commons, right down there by the railroad. I mean,
what's it for?
It's for the staffers. It's for the staffers of Multnomah County.
Oh.
Okay. I thought it was going to be another shelter for homeless.
Okay.
And then that basically was going to be abutting, if you will, the already existing housing for homelessness. Okay. No, it's going to be staffers, for staffers. And then, you know, they want to consolidate, but where do you get the money? I thought we had a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, why not accommodate those homelessness in there? They already got a location, got me?
You know, even there, what to do with Seattle, they didn't talk about money very much. Money will help. Money will help.
They're trying to solve that problem, if you will. You got my point?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
And
we just didn't hear very much about it.
Didn't hear about the deal. But you know, I got a feel about the whole issue of establishing that building. What is that going to do? That's going to release more people property, government property, that will be sold, i.e. at a reduced rate. And developers are going to come in and do the high-rise stuff again. Okay. And then package those so-called facilities and send them down to Wall Street.
All right.
And invest in them.
Okay.
If you got the money.
Right.
And the little people don't have the money. You know, and I don't know. This is just my feelings about what I'm seeing as I travel around the city. I mean, people could care less about the homeless people, you know, and that's cruel. And the little people can't take care of it because in most cases they're struggling trying to keep what they have. Senior citizens are having some tough times.
That's right.
You know, they're selling their homes where they are, and at the end of the day, they get the money. And they can't even buy the home once they get out.
Yeah.
You got me? They need a place to stay.
Right.
And taxes. So it's a problem that hopefully you hear where we're coming from. I mean, you know, everybody's frustrated. I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm looking at women out there. I'm just stressed out. Women out there. In fact, the vets are still out there too. There are a number of veterans. I'm out there knocking.
That's right.
I'm on the street. They're having some problems. Where do they live? Got me?
That's right. There's still problem with the veterans.
There's some still problem with the veterans. There are women problems on the streets. I mean, over there at Jansen Beach, I saw there's a woman up there in a tent. She was under the bridge.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then what happened, the governor came in and fenced her out.
Okay.
And fenced her out. They put a fence around where she was residing.
All right.
Now she's just to the right of the bridge, out in the open. And she's got, you can drive down there right now, and you see she's got clothes on a line or something with a tent, drying out.
Oh, all right.
A woman.
Yeah, that's difficult.
Well, it's very difficult because this is the Me Too age right now, too, you know. Hate to put it that way, but you would think they'd have a little bit more passion for another woman that's sitting out there. That's by herself.
That's right.
She can be attacked, and you hear about this stuff all the time, right?
Okay.
So the name of the game is that let's take this serious, folks. I mean, let's really, really take this serious. We're having some tough times about getting this stuff done, and we can solve this problem. We can. We're going to have to solve this problem. We're going to have to solve this problem. And then we got a presidential election that's going on right now, and I guess Merkley is not going to be running. He's one of our senators. He's not going to run. He's going to rerun for 2020. He's going to run for the U.S. Senate again for his seat. But the fact of the matter is, I liked the idea that he was running. But see, even though he's not going to run, hopefully he'll make one of his issues in the campaign for the state on the issue on homelessness.
Okay, all right.
Homelessness, okay? That's going to be a very interesting aspect of it. And I hope the city of Portland's got to get off the duff too, in all due respect. The mayor is, he's doing the best he can because he doesn't have the background. He can't really feel too compassionate about.
Yeah, I don't think he ever.
That's not his thing.
This is not a natural background.
No, that's not a natural background. And and that's what happens. What happens a lot of times. The people who understand the problem, it's almost like saying we may want to elect a mayor that's homeless. At least they have some idea of what's going on. You ask the question. I would be part of the platform if I was asking questions. Well, how do you survive out there on the street? What are you doing different than the rest of these guys? You're looking pretty prosperous. You're married. You got. You're looking good. You're wearing good clothes. You're clean. What are you doing different than the guy over here?
Right, okay.
Defecating on the, in the doorways of the businesses and having mental problems and you actually under methadone but you're taking the stuff and
That's right.
But so what about these other folks? Can you give us a solution to the problem? You got me?
You're right.
You see what I'm saying? So I would hope that those folks who are elected to office we'll spend a little bit more time talking about solutions, maybe looking at the whole issue of Rhode Island, and look at this piece that Seattle did. You know what I mean? Look at it.
That's available.
I would recommend that all of these elected officials that are out here right now, look at that piece. Again, you can go and Google it. Google it. Seattle is dying. Check it out and look at our own situation here in the city of Portland.
Right.
Very important, right?
And we want to thank our crew.
Yep, thank the crew big time. He put this piece together at a short notice aspect of it. And please, and thank you very, very much for being with us. We did the best we could.
Yeah, we're trying to talk about something that's overwhelming.
Oh, very much so, very much so. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, folks, and hopefully we'll see you at our next gathering.
Right.
Okay, good. And tune in to Oregon Voters Digest. I will have another good show.
Oh, that's right.
On issues that are affecting us here.